Welcome to the No Budget Indie Filmcast, where we dip into the independent film universe to highlight those little films that you might not have heard about elsewhere. We will agree with our panel, or will our panel agree with each other? Tune in to find out. I am Milo Dennison, and with me, as always, is Claire Milan
Hello.
and Cathal Feeney.
Hello.
All right, this week we watched a film called Hunting the Hound of Cold Hollow. So this is a documentary on the Vermont, can't say Vermont werewolf legend. So it's made by J.D. Thompson, who we've had on the show a few times. We've interviewed him. He made a film about the Tiger King. So he's quite an interesting character. So when I came across this, I was like, oh, J.D. Thompson. So he made it all the way back in 2018. And what it is here's a legend basically about this Hound of Cold Hollow, which is essentially a werewolf story. And so he goes up there and talks to a couple people about the werewolf. There's not a lot to this. Like, he doesn't really get too much into it. I guess he was also working on a story for Playboy around this as well, which is kind of, so he did write the story. But what I like about this, though, is since he doesn't have a lot of interviews, I think there's only like 3 interviews and 1 phone interview, and doesn't have a lot to go off of. He still manages to piece together kind of an interesting film that's 24 minutes long cinematically. Like, he's got these really cool aerial shots. Like, you can see we've all got screenshots here. Is yours from the film, Claire? Yours isn't from the film, though,
No,
is it?
sorry, I couldn't crop my screenshot, but it's the location. The location is right, so
Still in
apologies.
Vermont, yeah. Yeah, so basically starts off, he talks about going up there, and the way he makes the film is interesting because he does these recorded messages, like he's leaving a voicemail for somebody, and then he plays it back versus just having like a voiceover on screen kind of a thing or talking to the camera. And he has all these cool aerial shots to kind of create this mood and effect. This music that he wrote for the film, which is really kind of nice. And really just basically 3-4 interviews and quick discussions. Doesn't come to any conclusion other than, hey, yeah, there might be one, but there might not be one. So, spoiler alert, by the way, for you there. He never comes across the werewolf. But it is an interesting proof of concept, and or I don't know how you'd word it, but basically, I just appreciate the fact that he takes really what amounts to not a whole lot and manages to turn it into kind of a somewhat interesting little documentary, right?
Yeah, and where is Vermont? Vermont is
It's in the
located
Northeast.
northeast, so it's way up, like very
Yeah.
obviously a very isolated location. So it is a kind of a long, short documentary for very short, but
Yeah.
he really captured the isolation. And what stood out for this was the cinematography and the sound and the mystery and it just even the interviews. It's like, when you watch something like the X-Files and they're still out there, or are they? So there's that whole mystery and atmosphere. And yeah, it had me like I stayed with it. I thought it was very well made and spooky. And even when it showed footage from the past, it was very well done. And then seeing this book, and there's an Irish connection in it, which was interesting to see. And that someone stole this book, and it was just yeah, very well made, very atmospheric, spooky, and I think yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of with you, Milo. Like it was a very threadbare story. Like and fair dues to JD. Like, he managed to turn it into something decent because it was extremely well made. Um, but like, I don't know, even when they played that sound, when they had that recording of the sound, I could like it could have been, I don't know, it could have been a wolf. Like, why does it have to be a werewolf? Why not just
Yeah.
be a wolf? And and you got the feeling that some of the people, they were tongue in cheek talking about it. The waitress and the blonde woman. That, yeah, I've heard the story, but this is what the story is. But I don't believe it either. So But it kept your interest. It kept you engaged. Like it wasn't. You didn't feel like turning it off after 10 minutes, even though we had to watch it for the review. And obviously, JD is a friend of the show, and he's a really cool guy. And I guess there's probably more there, because it does say summary. I think it said summary on it. So maybe this is just an abridged version, and it must be a bit more meat in it so that he could get an article out of it that was published. So, but for the it wasn't convincing. It didn't even create any sense of doubt. Oh, it's weird. Oh, maybe, it was it's nothing there.
Or is there?
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, that's the thing is like, because you did kind of wait because you really didn't be like, oh, well, maybe there's a little proof that there is. But I kind of felt the same way. I'm like, not really getting nothing here is convincing me on the possibility of this werewolf.
Then when he finds the box, or the box is found,
Yeah.
and then the book is stolen, the book
Yeah.
on the werewolf, and there's like the Irish in it, Gaelic. So it's a bit of a mystery there.
Yeah. Are there what are they implying that the werewolf came over from Ireland? Did you guys send the werewolf to the US? So we're starting.
Interesting. And the book was all really old and the pages stuck together, and a bit of a mystery there. Yeah. I don't know how many Irish people are in Vermont. Is there any Irish descent?
I don't know how many settled there.
Everywhere. It looked like a cool book, by the way. I mean, maybe people in some way. And it's a pity actually that was stolen. And even when even that bit when they played the sound, it reminded me that the Simpsons episode when the comet was coming to Earth and they were all in this bunker, and then we're having this game to guess the sound of the animal, and somebody made a sound and nobody could guess what it was, and they never revealed what it was in the show. It was a bit like that. I don't know if you remember it.
I don't remember that one, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Now I was going to say, like, there are some like good sort of moments in it, and when a lot of it was just face to camera, but when they played the recording of the voice to phone, the phone call, that actually often works better than somebody talking, because it sounds kind of eerie in a way, and then you can show imagery over the voice, and it creates a much better app.
And I think it didn't give her real name. Wasn't there a medium? And her name was like Miranda. It wasn't her real name. Do you know? It's like, oh my God! Like it's just a bit spooky. Do you know? Like I don't know. There's something. I suppose it's in a very rural part. It's in the US, isn't it? US. We're not Canada, US, but it's like very rural location, and it's like a rural part of the world. Like, even in Ireland, there's like the banshee. We have. Do you know? You hear this sound. And yeah, so it just adds to the spookiness of it, that there's this, you don't know who is this woman who's disguising herself, and yeah, just, is it real, is it not? I just thought, yeah, it was very atmospheric.
Yeah, which I think is a testament to JD's filmmaking skills, truthfully. That like we said here, I mean, it's 24 minutes long, doesn't really have much in it, yet we managed to like watch the whole thing. And I was like, okay, interesting. Like I didn't feel like, oh man, I got to finish watching this, he did a good job of keeping me interested in it anyways, I think.
Absolutely. And even with the writing then, the way you see the right.
Oh yeah, black screen, just on screen
it's like,
text,
oh,
and just a nice mix. The phone call
and the
voiceover.
recording.
Yeah.
And then the interviews. It was a lovely mix, because if it was just interviews, like talking heads, and with no music, it wouldn't work as well. But the fact it was a kind of a mixed medium, and then the footage from the past, something spooky about that as well. So that's why it kind of worked, I think, very well, especially when it's over 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he'd written the music, by the way, and the music was good.
Amazing.
And by the way, it has 800,000 views or something on YouTube, and doing some of the commentaries, and they were said, oh, it's really cool. I like other videos like this.
Yeah.
Although there was one amusing one which said that voice, which I keep coming back to, was a rabbit in distress.
Okay.
Really, somebody's like, yeah, I know what that is. I have rabbits.
Yeah.
It's a rabbit in distress.
Definitely a rabbit in distress. Yeah.
Yeah. Like those people need to take better care of their pet rabbits. So leave them
Yeah.
stuck outside or something, being attacked by a little fox. Hmm. All right. Well, let's rate it, guys. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Okay, go for it, Carl.
Okay. Um, so as a piece of filmmaking, as a documentary, it was very professional, very well made. As a story, it was there wasn't a lot to it, but I'll give it 3.5 stars.
Okay. So for me, it did keep my attention for over 20 minutes. I love the mixed medium of showing old videos and the sound and just the interviews. And I like these mystery documentaries, and it makes me guessing, is there a werewolf? Is there not? So I'm going to give it 4 stars.
Yeah, I might be biased because we know JD, so he's quite a likable, interesting character. But I think he did a good job here, even disregarding that I know him. I think if I watched this from somebody else, the fact that they were able to create this interesting atmospheric film with really no context is props to him as a filmmaker. So for that reason, I'm going to go 4 stars on it. Yeah, so good job, JD. Let us know what you think. No budget audience. It's called Hunting the Hound of Cold Hollow. Check it out, and you can reach us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at No Budget Show, or leave a comment in the notes below. And with that, we'll say see you next time, and goodbye.
Well,